Hey everybody, Cindy Daychuck here with Queen Bee Creations, and I'm coming today with small, quick, little last-minute Christmas crafts. So things that if you just got a little bit of time that you could do, I mean, if you have a lot of time, then good on you. But things that you could do quite quickly. The first one is, when I had my glass shop, or my glass workshop, I loved making the glass icicles, right? Melting the glass, pulling it, twisting it, making it into beautiful glass icicles for your tree. And I still have a number that I hang on my tree every year. However, most of us don't have a glass workshop to be able to do that. And it can be very pricey, but I want to show you a very quick, very easy, inexpensive way to get look-alike glass icicles. And it starts by having a thick piece of, now you could call this mylar, you could call it, you could do these with really thin, like maybe 1/8 of an inch. Okay, what's that? What's the plastic for windows called? Oh my God, I'm blanking on that. But that stuff that you could do like for glass windows or glass fronted doors, you could do that plastic instead. And it can come really super thick, but you want to get it as thin as possible. But this works fine as well. Now, what I do have is I just have a board. My cutting mat is not smooth, so I'm not using my cutting mats. I'm just using a board, which is smoother, and a long ruler. And you are cutting this with a box cutter. Now, really, what you're doing is scoring it. You're not going to go all the way through. And you're doing it just kind of, oh, that slipped. Okay, just, as wide as the icicles you want to make. So I'm saying mine are, well, let me finish cutting it and then we'll measure it and we'll know for certain. I'm just eyeballing. And that went nowhere near. Okay, so I did those just slightly bigger than 1/4 of an inch. And then just fold it over. Now, you may get so that it just snaps off. Mine doesn't usually. So I just take my knife down that score line. And it just kind of wants to follow it. From the other end. Here I kind of mucked up at the end, so I think it's going to be a little challenging to get a straight line. Oh, there we go. Okay. And this is, how long are you? Just about 12 inches, just shy of that. And I am just kind of roughly cutting them in half. So they have 6 inches. If you want them longer, cut them longer, right? You could take this plastic and cut it this length so that you get longer icicles for your tree. To begin with, I find it easier. This is the end that I mucked up, so let me cut off that spiky tail hanging off of there. I find it easier to drill a hole before I start, and I'm just setting it up so I do both at once because it's faster. And you just drill a little hole in the end, and this is going to be your hanging hole, right? Next up, pliers. We're going to be using some heat on this, so we don't want to be touching it. And because I need both hands, I just set up a little plank here for my, let me see the best way to have this. I just want to angle this up. Oh, I know I have my box cutter under it. I just want to angle it up so it's out of the way. This is my heat gun. I'm going to take my one set of pliers and I'm going to hold on to the end that I just cut the hole in. Right? I have a pair of needle nose pliers. That's going to be the next part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the tip with that, and I am going to, now, let me finish talking to you first. What I am going to do is I'm going to hold the tip with this set of pliers. I am going to heat up a section, just maybe about an inch at a time, and twist that slowly. And then heat up the next section, twist that slowly, heat up the next section, twist that slowly, and then have the tip. All right? So I'm going to pull you in closer to see, but this is going to be too noisy for you to hear, so we're not going to have you hearing it. You're just going to see it in action. So we're taking our piece of plastic, holding it with the pair of pliers on both ends, and slowly heating up a section and turning as it heats up. And then we can slowly work our way down the length of our plastic. It's typical to lose an end. And then just slowly twist that piece away from the heat. Toward the end, I like to heat up the end and then slowly pull it to get a bit of a tapered. This one curled. I thought it was cute. When you're done, you have your little icicles. This one curled up on the end and I kind of liked it, so I left it. But this is what your icicles end up looking like. And they're gonna catch the light on your tree and reflect it back. And they're gonna be just lovely. Super lightweight, no breakage. So if you've got cats or kids, this may be the way to go. This one is super cute. All you need is an ornament. And this is great to do with old ornaments if you wanted to. This is just a white plastic ornament from the dollar store. And you need something that's going to allow you to have a thin line of glue. You could paint on the glue with a paintbrush if you would choose. So here I'm going to do some trees. So I'm just going to draw with the glue some trunks. And I'm going to take some dollar store glitter. And I'm just going to shake that over my glue. And then just blow the excess away. This is kind of static cling, but we can wipe that off afterward. And then I'm going to take the same glue and I'm just going to start drawing on some of my fir tree branches. You can do this any shape that you want, and as much as I've got wiggly lines, it'll be okay. Make that a little bit longer. And then again, shake my glue on. Shake my sprinkles on. And you can blow it away. And then do the same for your other trees. So let me do red ones. And then you can give them a little bit of ground cover if you want to. And maybe kind of an orangey bronze. Why not? And I'm just going to let it sit and dry. And then when it's dry, I can wipe away all the static cling. And when it's dry, I can do the reverse side if I want them two-sided. For this next one, I am taking some old resin chess pieces that I thrifted. So this was $8, so $6 with my discount for this. This is a resin set. There are some broken pieces. A lot of these little ponds, the little toppers are missing, which is great because I use them in projects. I use them as finials. So what I have done is I want to put bottle brush trees in them. I want to do a forest. So I'm just going to drill a hole down in the center. Should be enough. And then I'm going to just add, I mean, it's got a little bit of a coppery kind of color. This one I added some gold to it. This one I'm going to add some silver. So I'm just using some gilding wax by Annie Sloan. Any rub and buff product would work great. So I'm just kind of zhuzhing it up a little bit, just using my finger to just highlight the details of this a little bit more. And it's got beautiful details. And I hate to see something like this end up in the garbage because it has so many possibilities. Anywhere that I need to add a finial onto something, I need a little bit more oomph on something than, you know, a little topper for some reason onto a box or whatever. These are perfect. So that's it with the silver. And then all I'm going to do is take the bottom off of my, let me get a bunch of this silver gone. Take a bunch of that off the bottom, put some hot glue on there, which is not so hot yet. There we go. A little too much. And stick it down in my hole. And the nice thing about this, and you could do this with any little piece, but I like to have them with different pieces, different bases, so that they're different heights. We've got a little forest of different colored trees that we could put into our vignettes and just kind of add a little bit of something. Next up, I have these ugly little partial candlesticks. They had other stuff all resined in. I'm just gonna paint them out very quickly with, if I can find a little brush, here we go. I'm gonna paint them out very quickly with cast iron by Fusion, which is, as the name implies, like a dark cast iron, very deep gray color, not quite black, so that it's just a little bit softer. But I'm gonna get that on just so that I have a little bit more unified base. And then this will take 2 coats. So I'm gonna get that done. And then we get to move on to the fun next part. Just to add a little bit of bling to this, I'm just gonna take a gold paint marker and add a little bit of color to this. Now you could just take some gold wax, or quite honestly, once you see where we're going, you don't have to even worry about a base. You could just simply use maybe a little glass cup or salt cellar or something like that. You'll see what I mean. This part, because I said it would be quick, this isn't the quick part. This is just me being picky. All right, my bases are done. And this is gold paint marker that's kind of in a, it's permanent. It's almost like a chrome kind of. You can see how shiny that is. So as I said, the bases are not the main part of this craft. What is I happened to thrift like this bag of ornaments that had some fancy ornaments in them and like a little finial top. Now, I have always loved the antique glass finial ornaments. They are crazy expensive to buy though. And I just pretty much figured they're going to break in shipping anyway. So this is kind of based on that kind of idea. And what I'm looking at here is the idea of Okay, you might have to go there because this one doesn't have a hole. There we go. So if I do this and this and then the gold top. So what I'm looking at doing is just simply stacking ornaments to be able to make a big finial. And I'm just putting it into a base so that it becomes more balanced, it becomes more decorative. It's something that could go on, you know, your credenza, that sort of thing. But you can see, I just need something that I can put the ball into. It could be like a candlestick base. It could be a little glass cup. It could be just a painted flower pot, just whatever you want to use as a base. And then we're going to stack these. Now, it's a little easier when you have ornaments that have the holes, right? That you can take the lid off and you've got the holes, because very often you can take a small one and stack it onto the other. These are going to be stacked like this. They're going to be a little precarious. You know, I don't want to lie, but if they were the real glass finials, you'd be having to treat them very delicately anyway. So what I'm doing is I'm not moving too fast with my hot glue here, so that it starts to thicken up a little bit, so it's not really gloopy. And I'm going to try and center it, and I'm going to hold it in place. And then I'm going to take off this ornament cap. Not quite dry. I could see it going timber. Once you have it assembled, if you need to, you can kind of go back in there and maybe see if you've got some beads or something that you could glue in around there to add support. All right. And then we're just simply going to attach our last finial, our last ornament onto the top. Now you could do this as tall as you want. You could do it all with little miniature balls if you want. There's no rule to the size. It's cool. You know, if I'd had an even bigger one on the bottom, and you could do a big one, then a little one, then a medium size, then a little one, then, right? You get to play with the shape. And having a number of these in all kinds of different combinations and sparkles or beads or that kind of thing can add a lot of variation to your table. Now, this next one, all we're doing is we're taking an inexpensive little ornament and we are going to use paint markers on it. Now you could use Sharpies if you want to, and this is great to just buy some, maybe like white ones, right? Like we used earlier. You could do the white ones, give your kids a bunch of the colored markers and just have them paint them up. For this, I have that same metallic paint markers. These are kind of, this is the one that I used on those candlesticks. It's sort of chrome, right? It's kind of a chrome colored. I want to see if this fine one will work. And what I'm thinking, because of this kind of this royal blue, is just drawing on here a bunch of maybe leaves. I mean, you could do scrolls over it. You can really kind of go to town with whatever you want to do. I'm thinking that I'm just going to do patterns over it all. So if I do all the leaves and then fill them with kind of different patterns on the inside, I'm thinking that might look cool. But it shows up really well on this, on the blue. So again, You could go in any color that you want. So let's take a look at our finished projects. None of these takes any time in and of itself. So we had our little plastic icicles, which I think are just so cute. And again, you don't have the weight of the glass. You don't have to worry about the glass. They all, hang easily, reflect light. Kind of a fun, cool little thing. We had our little bottle brush trees that we put into little chess pieces. And I find bags of chess pieces very often. I have some stone ones, but these ones in particular being resin, and we just were able to gussy them up with a little bit of wax. Done. We did our little sparkle trees. So again, just very easy. If you've got a thin little glue stick, then works perfectly. If you need to, you could paint it on and just do the different colors individually. But I think that's a cute little way to go with ornaments. Very fast, very easy. I mean, you could just do dots on them, and a way of really dressing up very fast. Some ornaments, some dollar store ornaments with dollar store glue and dollar store glitter. Nothing simpler than that. We did do these little ornaments. So I did one on the white to show you, and then one on the blue. And I just did one color. I just used the gold marker on each of them, which I think is more than enough. But you could take a white ball and you could do red and green, and you could just color away. And again, really cool one for kids to be able to decorate up. The other thing that we did was we took some ornaments and we just glued them into a tower. Now, I did maybe a little bit slightly fancier base. You could really use anything at all as a base, just so that the round ball on the bottom has something to stabilize it. But doing these of different sizes, different heights, I think is a really pretty way of creating a lovely vignette. And again, just using some, in this case, thrifted ornaments, but these ones kind of coordinate. You can do them in whatever color works for your decor. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different projects that any individually that they could be done really fast. You saw how quick this was, painting aside. Any of the balls, trees, done in no time. So Christmas decor doesn't have to be expensive to make, and it doesn't have to be time consuming to make. Any of these, super quick and really a lot of fun and pretty cute. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from you, and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Until then, take care.